microphone. I guess I don't want. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's meeting of the Dudley Town Planning Board. At this time, I'd like to note that the meeting is being recorded, and I'd like to ask everyone to join me and stand and for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. The first item we have on the agenda is approval of minutes from September 11th, 2024. Has everyone had a chance to view the minutes?
Is the meeting being recorded?
I said it. It was
You
the
did?
first thing I said.
I fell asleep there, Mr. Chairman, my bad.
Yes, I reviewed the minutes from the 12th. I didn't see any changes or anything that was necessary.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from, what was it, sorry, September 12th?
11.
September 11th, yes.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous? All right. Next on the agenda, we have the A&R form edits discussion. So I don't know how many of you have had a chance to look at some of the sample, well, not sample A&Rs, but the A&Rs that Richard had found from neighboring towns and other towns in the Commonwealth, just kind of like to give us examples of what's out there. It was interesting. It was like I found some that were actually even more intrusive, for lack of a better term, than ours. And then on the other hand, I found some that had very few. But the one thing we noticed in almost all of them was a lack of a requirement for a check on property taxes being paid.
But there was one or two that did have that.
I believe, yeah, I think, was it
Rochester?
Rochester?
Rochester, Massachusetts.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, that's been in place ever since I can remember on the planning board, because whenever anybody would come to us for anything, that would be the first question they ask, are the property taxes paid?
Yeah.
And there was a bylaw, I can't find it now, but I remember reading a bylaw that the town had put in place. Maybe it got rescinded or it's no longer in effect, but there was a bylaw that said if you owed the town any money, the boards in town would not work with you.
And I remembered when you mentioned that to me, and
Yeah.
I haven't been able to find it.
Me neither. But
And then
I
I've
remember
asked
reading it.
around
Yeah.
some of the senior people that here in the town hall have been here for a while, and no one seems to be able to remember who the person was that decided that we should enact this extra rule. One of the other A&R applications from one of the towns, it did mention a municipal lien certificate, which would be a similar situation. That would actually cover even more. That would cover if they were in arrears on their sewer bill or their water bill. But a municipal lien is not going to be enacted by a municipality until you're pretty far in arrears. Whereas right now, what we've got is a situation that you could literally be 2 weeks overdue on your property taxes and not be able to check that off on the checklist.
They used to also send out, the treasurer used to send out a list, I think monthly, of all the people that owed taxes or fees to the town that hadn't been collected, and then that would be published and distributed to all the offices, and we used to have that list at our meetings, so we would just ask
The town treasurer's office did that?
Yeah, the town planner would just say, yeah, look on the list, because I remember the first town planner was Laurie Cornish. She would just have the list, and then she'd say, yeah, the person's paid up, they're not on the list.
Interesting.
Maybe it's the list that goes in the newspaper?
That would be something different, because that's like published once a year, I think.
Yeah, and that list, you've got to get pretty far in arrears, I think, before they put you out there on that. That's like the scarlet letter, So,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, regardless if other towns have it in their requirements for the A&R or not, I hold it as a good idea And I think that we should keep it in there personally, but that's me.
All right. I actually didn't have a lot of time to do a lot of work on this. I think at the last meeting, I talked about that I kind of wanted to work on this over time. So I think my fellow colleague may have jumped the gun and kind of
Got excited?
got excited about a new project, which is great. But as far as really handling any of this tonight, I'd like to have further discussion down the road based on a little bit more research that I'd like to do. I mean, the first thought I have is exactly what we can and can't do as far as what powers do we have when in regard to A&R. So the A&R handbook, you know, you go into it, it's like, it's pretty clear up in the front. There's like 3 tests that you are faced with that help you decide whether or not it qualifies as an A&R. And outside of that, it can get pretty ambiguous. And there's, the one thing that's in this full version of the A&R handbook is countless cases of boards that felt that they were doing what was best for the town, denied A&Rs, only to have that overturned in court. And now those are court cases that are used.
Person.
Exactly, right. So, and I agree with, you know, like you said, it sounds like a good idea. The question is, does it actually open a loophole for somebody to overturn us on something? If it ends up being the only item that, for instance, we rejected.
Correct, but after we get done with our discussion over time to try to figure out the right way to do this, and we put something together, we could easily have town council take a quick peek at it.
Exactly. When we have like a list, we formulated a list and we're like, okay, we're thinking this one we're thinking we want to take out.
Right.
You know, do we really need it in there?
Yep.
Or this one we're thinking of keeping in, but we're not sure if we should, because we're getting pushback from applicants that say it's not legal.
Right. Or they just don't like it.
And-
All right.
And there may be, I mean, there may be a way we could do it where you can approve someone's A&R that does owe back taxes. You could approve it, you know, contingent on them paying their back taxes. Because, I mean, there's a fee with an A&R, and they have to pay that. So if they're coming in and willing to pay the fee on the A&R, and they
Why wouldn't you? Right.
Right.
Right. Okay. Yep, all right, so that's good. So I think, why don't we, I guess the procedure would be, do we table this to the next meeting? Or we just continue to move it? That way we can continue to keep it going.
Yeah, maybe we can add something like that in the agenda where we're having discussions and edits as we're going along.
Sure.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
okay.
Can we get town council to take a look at our list right now and say, these things need to be 86, no matter what?
Wouldn't hurt. They're gonna be here for the town meeting very soon.
Okay. Yeah, I'm open to that.
It's only like 1 page.
That's
Can't
a-
imagine it's gonna be hours of work.
No.
Seems like a reasonable suggestion. Does somebody want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we have town council take a look at our A&R list and see what we can take off and what we can keep on legally, or what we can ask for legally.
Okay,
Second it?
all right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, it's unanimous. All right, next item on the agenda is the alternative planning board member. Sounds even better than an alternate. All right, so I guess I believe at our last meeting, we had decided that since we had 2 applicants that were interested in vying for the position of alternate planning board member, that we should formulate some sort of, I guess, interview, for lack of a better term.
Yes.
We've all received emails from Josefa. She was kind enough to reach out and ask for input as far as like questions that she could ask. And were you able to formulate a list?
Yes, so they are in your binder and I've combined some questions. There's 3 questions that I think that I kind of got in the end of everybody's, and there's copies, there's 2 copies. You can end up using notes. That line, but those
Okay, yeah, I see them.
are. Apologize for the typo.
Oh, okay, great. All right. All right, what's the board's pleasure on how we want to move forward with this? Does the board have any objection to me asking the questions, or do we want to take turns in asking the, we each take a different question, or?
I think I have to abstain because one of the applicants is my brother-in-law, right?
Okay, so then,
That'd be something I definitely have to abstain from.
And I've served on the board with both of them, so I feel I have to kick back and relax too.
no, you can't. Can't do that, then there's like no way that either one of them is gonna,
Could be a 1-to-1 vote.
yeah.
Flip a coin.
I have no desire to read any questions, so
Okay,
Chairman, if you want to.
all right. Was that what your thought was, that I
Yeah,
would be the
yeah,
one?
exactly. That was what my thought
You're
was.
the short straw? Okay. So let's do it this way. I will ask each applicant question number 1, and then after they've both answered, go to question number 2, and so on and so on. Does that sound fair?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. Would both of you gentlemen like to come up to the podium there, or table? Okay. You have a preference for how we decide who goes first, or? All right.
Paper, scissors.
Doesn't matter to me.
Take a coin, heads and tails.
Tom, it doesn't matter to you?
No matter to me.
Oh, okay. Bill, you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay, great. Let's get this over with. All right. What do you see as the role of the planning board in Dudley? And why do you want to be on the planning board?
The role of the planning board is protecting the town. When people coming in doing developments, protecting the homeowners, protecting the abutters, making sure everything's done properly. I served on the planning board for a few years before I moved to Florida. We just recently moved back. I heard there was a position open, so figured I'd apply.
Okay,
'Cause I enjoyed being on the boards. I was on the planning and zoning board.
okay, great. Tom?
Yeah, I enjoyed being on the planning board. Learned a lot over 3 years, learning more. But yeah, I pretty much served my town. I grew up and make sure everything's done right.
Okay, next question. Tom, I'm going to ask you first. We'll alternate who goes first.
Or-
All right. Tom, how do you define effective teamwork?
Working in a group, but technically you can't really communicate because it'd be a violation of state ethics laws. So it's kind of, you show up and pretty much what you're dealing with.
All right. Bill, how do you define effective teamwork?
Working together, working together to get solutions if there's issues, being a team player, not being confrontational with other people on the board.
All right. Question 3. Bill, this one goes to you first. You have served on the planning board in the past. Why do you want to be an alternate member? So I'm going to interrupt right there. Isn't that answered in question 1, sort of? Why do you want to be on the planning board is the question. Question 1 was, what do you see as the role of the planning board in Dudley? Why do you want to be on the planning board? Question 3 is, you served on the planning board in the past. Why do you want to be an alternate member? I'm thinking
They're
we
pretty
can ask
sim-
them to answer it, but it's going to be redundant.
Yeah, they're pretty similar. I mean, one says be a board member, the other one says alternate, so is some kind of distinction, but that's crossing hairs if anything.
I agree. So without objection, we're going to go to question 4.
There's no
There's no
four.
four.
Oh, there isn't four, that's
Yeah,
it? Was it
these-
3 questions?
Yeah, these were the
Abbreviated.
combinations of what everybody had for questions. and
Oh,
just
okay.
Repetition, so I
All
just
right.
took everything and simplified it.
All right,
So the number 3 would be, because that's the only position that's open.
all right, okay, all right.
Mine would be I ran legally, it's got my signatures and I ran, so Bill's like, hey, you can come back, be an alternate if you want.
All right,
Sorry, that was.
so, so do we want to, how do we want to handle it now?
We have to have a vote, and that, and our vote is the recommendation towards the board, to the Board of Selectmen?
Well, so, Richard's not here this evening, but interestingly enough, Richard found that in our regulations, it actually says that we are the appointing
Yeah.
board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And we talked to the administrator's office about it, and they promptly, my understanding is they promptly kicked it right back to us and said,
Yeah.
go for
So,
it.
yeah, on. if you go
So
back and- yeah.
we don't need to make a recommendation to the selectmen, we can make the decision.
Okay.
So, with that being said,
Just, Mr. Chairman, if I may make a quick statement?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I've worked with both of you guys on the board before, and had a good time with both of you guys. Both were active and everything, and I feel really uncomfortable having to vote between either one of you, to be honest about you. I was kind of halfway teasing about not wanting to, to recluse
I feel the
myself.
same way.
But at the same time, I feel incredibly uncomfortable. You both would be an asset, can we vote to have 2 more members on the board? Would that work? That'd be easier, so yeah.
Well, I think the state actually decides how many board members are
Yeah,
planning.
I understand.
Yeah,
I just,
right.
again, half jest, but I just.
I forgot what it
feel-
is. I think
feel
you go
comfortable
from-
Casting my vote
yeah.
either way, it's just,
You go from 5 members to 7 members, but I forgot what the cutoff, what the requirement is before you can actually have a 7-member board.
Population, maybe?
I think
might
it's-
be,
It's
yeah.
for the population.
Population,
Yeah.
So,
A coin.
so I guess would this, well, I could ask for nomination, but then that's the same problem.
yeah. I'm trying to think of some alternate way, other than just sitting here and voting, it just seems to me so arbitrary.
Jump jack contest.
No, literally, I just feel uncomfortable raising one of my hands, one of the guys, because they're both, to me, just equally as good. Would it be wrong to be, try to, the 3 people who are voting for this, try to just meet, talk about it, and find out if there is some kind of a consensus as a first and second, and just announce a consensus, or?
How do we do that without violating open meeting law?
I think it has to be done, yeah.
Again, I'm just thinking out loud.
No,
so-
I understand what you want to do.
I mean, do you guys have to make a decision tonight?
That's a good point.
You wanna do secret ballot?
Well,
That doesn't solve that doesn't solve Dan's conundrum of,
if we hold off until the next meeting, there'd be 4 of us, and we have the possibility of a tie then, right?
yeah, and actually, well, yeah,
I
that's
don't have
right.
to wait to tie.
Well, if it's a tie, the chairman doesn't vote,
Okay.
so that's usually how it goes, under Robert's rules.
No.
If you'd have an even number of votes. If I'm not mistaken.
Well, we could check into it.
Alternate.
What do you want, heads or tails? Winner gets a spot.
All right, so,
I guess it's, sorry for you guys, we probably should have talked about this first, got some kind of direction, and now you have to go through this, but like I said, I really am uncomfortable with the same one. It just,
I hear you.
Yeah, I wasn't aware there was another applicant also, so
Okay.
we're kinda on the spot too.
Yeah,
all right,
exactly.
so why don't,
do we want to try, sorry for speaking out of turn, Mr. Chairman, but do you want to see if we can wait until next meeting? Possibly have Richard get involved, and then find out if a secret ballot would be okay?
yeah, we could table it to the next meeting.
Next meeting I won't be here,
Oh,
but I could give you my
The
vote.
guy wouldn't be
I
here.
could give you my secret ballot, and you could have it.
It'd just be nice to find some way to have a consensus and to announce a consensus, other than, you know, I here, one here, one here, whatever else, and just, but that's just me. I mean, we'll do whatever we have to do.
But Dan, I'm open to tabling it to the next meeting. My suggestion would be, though, that we don't require either of the two applicants to come back to the next meeting when we make our decision. That way, we don't have a situation where somebody's sitting here and.
Oh, it's still,
we have to-
even if they watch us, it's the same thing.
Yeah, but we don't have to see them break into tears.
Oh, yeah, be heartbroken.
I don't throw too many temper tantrums.
Well,
Again, I'm easy either way, I'm sorry for speaking too much about this, I'm trying to find a way to make it good for everybody. For the two applicants, would you guys feel more comfortable about an immediate just vote, or to table it?
You can wait for Richard, I don't really care. Doesn't bother me.
To make you guys less uncomfortable, I think you should table it and make your decision on the next meeting.
okay.
That works, I mean, again, I'm not trying to put anything off, it's just my
Yeah, yeah,
feelings
no.
about the whole thing.
Okay.
It'd be different if I didn't know you guys and hadn't served on the board with you, I could maybe then make some kind of decision based on
Yeah.
something other than, you know what I mean? It's just, for me, it's difficult.
It's kind of thrown in you guys' lap to,
But what do you think
Make
about
this
not having
decision.
them have to come back here again? I mean,
Their choice, their
we're
choice.
already,
Yeah, and then I can email whoever.
If they're here or not, I mean, it's
Yeah.
open public, so who cares? I'm
no,
just-
I know, just that, you know,
It's up-
sometimes you got better things to do on your Wednesday night than come here and,
No, I really
The sooner they
don't.
get put up here, we can make changes.
okay. All right, so, we're gonna table this decision until the next board meeting, the next scheduled board meeting, which, depending on how things go later in this meeting, maybe 3 weeks from tonight? Right?
Maybe.
Maybe, all right. So, all right, I'd like to thank both of you for coming in and answering
Appreciate your time,
our,
guys.
thank you, boys.
our questions. Have a nice night. All right, getting back to the agenda. Now we're back, now we're on to standard business. So, standard business, status report on Pierpont Estates, Rocky Hill Estates, Country View Estates, AKA Eisenhower Drive, Tobin Farm Estates, Lyon Estates, and Sophie's Way. Do we have anything to report regarding any of these? Okay, no problem.
Sorry.
Placeholder for Tobin Farms at the next town meeting.
Yeah, there's a placeholder for that. Yeah, no, I don't have anything, no updates.
Don't have
besides
anything,
that, no.
okay. And I believe we already heard that the placeholder for Tobin Farms is gonna be removed?
Yes.
Right. Shouldn't have been on there. It's not ready.
So we're removing Tobin Hill.
All right,
When is it, Tom?
October 21st.
all right. Next under standard business, we have inspections and actions associated with site plans. First up is Legacy Landing Country Club Acres. There's nothing new going on there, right?
Yeah, no.
No, okay. S&P Solar, Oxford Ave.
No,
JD&D, 24 Oxford Ave. That's the one that we,
yes.
Been talking about.
We were talking about it, and, I talked with, Graves Engineering, Jeff Welsh on the phone, and then afterwards, he said to reach out to the building inspector, which I did, and they said that they're not completed yet, so there's no, they're waiting for everything getting closed.
okay. Well, that's pretty much what we knew, though, already,
Yeah,
for the most part. So the question lingers, what's the delay? What's the holdup now?
okay,
That's what we want to get down to the bottom of.
yeah. I
Because there
think-
doesn't appear to be any more work being done there.
There's no expiration date on the building permit though.
It's 2 years for building permit.
No, once you start.
Once you start, actually, there isn't, I think I remember
There's no
that.
expiration date. can
You have
keep
to
it-
start within a certain time frame of pulling the permit, but once you've started and broke ground, you
You
can,
can keep it forever.
yeah.
I had to have my house done within 2 years.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, you're not talking to the right people. Seriously, though,
So should I try to reach out to the inspector again and see what's the delay? Is that kind of try?
Something.
if he knows,
Yeah, I can try
Yeah.
to see, reach out, okay.
like to hear from maybe the applicant, try,
Yeah,
the owner,
the owner, yeah.
because we talked about that. The building's for sale now, and there doesn't seem to be any more work going on there. Has anybody witnessed anything? I mean, it's,
I don't drive past there, probably haven't.
no. So, just curious. All right, so that's all we have for that for now. Stevens Mill Complex,
Nothing.
a lot of activity going on there, but it's not directly associated with the mill.
I got excited when I saw that at Dunkin' Donuts. I was like, oh, they're finally doing something.
Yeah, well, it turns out that sewer line goes right through the back there and goes down towards the river and then turns, and
Oh,
it's like, yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, maybe way back in the old days, that sewer line just went right into the river.
Probably still does.
I hope not. Solar project at the landfill,
Yeah, so I ended up emailing, Robert,
Bukowski.
Bukowski, sorry, I'm really bad with last names. He ended up replying back to me. I ended up asking the questions that we had in regards to our past planning board meeting, and as you can see, that's what he ended up saying. He said, "Hi, Jasifa, all is well here." He said, he's like, "All well, hope you're well too." The trenching work shown was to install additional pipes within drainage, sand layer of landfill. This was installed to promote drainage within the cap drainage layer and was approved by Mass DEP as a part of post-closure, post-permit application approval. So that's all he said.
okay. All right, I happen to be speaking with Jeff Walsh from Graves Engineering, and he was explaining to me that in that situation there, you don't want water to pool and go down where it could become in contact with the contaminants in the ground. That the drainage actually serves to bring the rainwater that collects there away before it can become contaminated, if that makes sense. I mean, it made sense to me, but I just thought I'd mention it. So unless we have anything else,
And then we have, yeah, that's it.
yeah, okay. So David, I don't know if you wanna, did you have anything, if you wanna,
No, not for this board.
okay.
The DEP,
All
for
right.
that one.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on then. Dudley Housing Authority, that was, Rich just had a question about there was the parking lot work that was done there, I guess.
Yeah, I reached out to Graves.
Yeah.
And then, they ended up, if you look here, Coin Engineering, they have a whole memo on it. That's kind of the update that is going on there.
Okay, with the exception of loom and grass seeding, the site work has been completed. Okay, so it sounds like they're getting ready to put down the loom and seed this fall, and that should wrap it up.
Yep.
Okay, so maybe just,
Maybe like in the next meeting, before the next meeting, just to ask for another follow-up.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe just email Richard and let him know, in case he doesn't get a chance to watch this meeting. That, I think, as far as we're concerned, we're satisfied with that explanation? Okay. All right, Planner's Plate. New England Power Company's NOI application for the T20 priority work, tree removal.
I have it here, if you guys want to review it. It's there, that's all I have for Planner's Plate.
Okay, all right.
I don't know how to.
Well, just spitball it for me. What is it?
So,
Notice of intent application for the
Yeah.
T20 priority work. What is T20?
so it looks like they're just trying to remove, trees, and, it was submitted to the Dudley Conservation Committee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they have copies for the planning board as well as, the Board of Zoning and Health and, Board of Health.
But it's tree removal. Does it really even involve us?
I don't think so, but
I
I
don't
think they're just
okay.
notifying us that
Oh,
this is
that's nice,
going on.
that's nice.
So, that's kind of what's going on with that one.
All right, great, that's good.
So if you all wanna see it, you can, it's here, and it'll be on my desk.
All right, comments from the planning board. Anybody have anything? No?
Mr. Chairman, I think there was also a notice, was it Richard, somebody wanted to know about the update on the zoning article that was approved at spring.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so for, so I think, yes, I think someone wanted to know the update on regards to the bylaw.
Shared driveway.
Yeah, the shared driveway bylaw.
Oh, that's right, we were looking for, it was to be reviewed by the state, right? And we were just curious if we had gotten
Yeah.
approval back yet. Guy, was that?
I think there was
I think
email.
I think it was Mr. Clark that asked for it, but
Oh.
I think it's Article 24, if I remember right, the Attorney General's deadline. for
Article
this-
12,
It was 12?
Mhm.
I put it in your binder.
Okay, so they approved it then.
They did.
Oh, okay, all right, so, done deal.
That's awesome to go, yeah.
Add that to your email to Richard, since that was another one
Yeah.
you brought up. Okay. We're still in comments from the planning board, so I did want to bring up one thing. I wanted to float this idea to the board and see what you guys thought. Under standard business, every time we go through it, we've got this list of 6 subdivisions. And I was thinking maybe just striking some of these off of this list, because some of these have nothing going on and are not gonna have anything going on for any, I mean, we can always add it back on if something comes up, if there's some movement. For instance, if something ends up breaking with Tobin Farms and we're able to start moving forward again with that, we can just bring it back. Rocky Hill, been here since I've been on the board.
1989.
Yeah, right, so, Pierpont, we could probably keep on for the time being, because that should be coming,
That should be closing also.
yeah,
Yeah.
we should be getting ready to close that out. Country View Estates, Eisenhower Drive, I don't know what your thoughts are on that one, but it seems like we talk about that too much.
That's the one that we need to invite the residents to a meeting to explain to them what the betterment fee does. And
Okay.
how it can close out the project for them,
All right.
because it doesn't seem like the developer's gonna do it on his own.
Okay. So does anybody, so Rocky Hill and Tobin Farms, what do you think about just striking those off the list?
Could agree with that.
Dan, what do you think?
To your point, there hasn't been much movement, only barely discussion, right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, there's actually subdivisions in town here that have been approved, that haven't been started, that aren't on this list even, so seems, you know, and if something ends up moving with those, obviously, we'll put them on our agenda, but for the time being,
now,
so,
maybe every twice a year, 3 times a year, we have some kind of a general discussion where everything
Yeah.
can be brought in, and if there's no movement, just, again, take it off until the next 6 months, whatever it happens to be.
sounds like an
That
idea.
would streamline things, but still keep us a little bit in the loop.
So I guess I'm looking for a motion from someone to strike Rocky Hill Estates and Tobin Farm Estates from the standard business list in our agenda until further notice.
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
Okay, I have motion and
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
I have to abstain.
That's 3 ayes, and Mr. Durgan abstains.
And we don't want to do Eisenhower Drive because of the betterment process?
Yeah, we need to bring them in and explain that to them.
If we could get that done this year, that might be a good thing, so that they can think about it for the spring, because they would need to get quotes.
That's, oh yeah, right,
Quotes.
exactly. So where do we leave off with that last time we talked about it? That was still when
We
Bill
had
was
asked-
here, right?
We'd asked Bill if he could put, get letters of all the homeowners on that street, and get a letter out to them and ask them to come to the planning board so we could explain the betterment to them.
Gotcha.
and basically explain to them what the situation is with their subdivision. It's
All right.
basically standing still and there's not enough money to finish it.
So it's possible that Bill wasn't able to get that done before he retired, right?
No,
So,
Letters?
guess what?
Send out letters.
There you go.
And that's
So-
for Rocky Hill,
No,
no, that's for.
Country View
Hill
Estates,
Eisenhower.
Eisenhower Drive.
yeah, there's probably 15 to 20 houses on the
Yeah,
street.
I would just go talk with Lisa Berg in
Lisa
the
Berg.
assessor's office,
Yeah.
and she could give you a list.
So everybody that
And when
abuts
do,
the street.
when should those letters have?
What's
when-
that?
And so we're going to have a planning board meeting on
Yeah,
that?
we would,
We would just invite them to a planning board meeting, a regularly scheduled planning board meeting, and ask them, or explain to them the situation with their, the current situation with their subdivision.
yeah, call it an informational meeting.
Yeah,
Informational meeting, okay.
Yeah. It's not a public hearing or anything
Not
like
a
that,
public
so we
hearing.
wouldn't have to advertise it.
Does the developer have to actually abandon the subdivision first before the betterment thing?
I don't think so, because,
covenant's expired and there's not enough money in the account to finish it, so.
yeah, I mean, you've got, I mean, I don't think there was ever any official abandonment of some of the other ones that
No.
we've done.
And you wanna do this sooner rather than later, because if the road gets in really bad shape, then you have to regrind the road and pay to have it done.
Right, good point. All right,
When do you think we should have the letters go out and, which, I can have them go out next week, and then maybe we can try to maybe do it for the next two like not this the one that's gonna come up, maybe the one after that.
Are we gonna take up that, business about the 3-week meetings after this? or-
yeah, I was just gonna say, she
Yeah.
can decide which meeting to schedule for.
After.
Schedule it in November?
Right,
I'd say after town meeting.
Yeah, schedule it in November,
okay,
for
Right.
whatever meeting we have in November.
yeah, so let's move on to, let's revisit
That's, yeah.
that date after we've decided how we want to handle this next thing. Okay, we got comments from the planning board, comments from the audience.
Can I just get a copy of that letter from the solar company for the landfill?
Yeah,
Is it in here?
the email, you want the email?
Yeah, you can have, I was just gonna say, you can have one of ours. The one from the, yeah,
Which section was it under? New business, right?
That was under new business. Think so. Here, I got it. Standard business. That's what it was under.
Information from Rob.
It says conservation.
Yep. Oh, you got it? Faster than me.
okay. All right,
I got a question about Sophie's Way. I don't know if you gotta abstain from this one. I saw you all paved it recently.
yeah, sure, I'll recuse myself and, let's see, who's the vice chair now?
Me. Oh, I'm next in charge.
All right, give you the big seat.
Just sit here. Do we have Graves Engineer go down and when this road was paved?
Did we have Graves Engineer go down?
Yeah.
I do not know that. I can ask for an update from Graves.
I thought that Graves would have to witness it being paved.
Ask Graves about it.
I guess. Do you know?
All right, so planning board member is not supposed to represent themselves or their own business before the planning board. That's what the regulation says. I have the answers that he's looking for, but technically I'm supposed to have somebody else here to represent Sophie's Way to give you the answers. I would ask if the board wanted to waive that requirement, so I can answer the question, I would do that.
I think that's a state law, that's not a town law.
I honestly, yeah, I think you're right. So you can't do it? Then I have nothing to say. Sorry. If you want to reach out to the representatives of Sophie's Way and get that answered.
Representative anyways?
It was if Graves went out and witnessed it being paved, the road being paved.
I could literally sit next to the attorney and actually whisper into his ear what to say.
So just,
Because you are the owner.
item for clarification, to represent the interest, to me, means you're petitioning the board for some sort of action. You're applying for A&R, something else. We've had plenty of developers, owners, et cetera, in here before, just answering questions. So my opinion, not trying to put just my opinion, a question really isn't representing yourself, it's just simply answering the question.
If I get unanimous consent of the board to agree with your interpretation of the rule, then I would be willing to.
I mean, how many times have we had the Lions Estate
I would
team
stipulate.
here, for example, you know, and other people? yeah.
Tony's come here. and
Tony's come in many
explained
times
everything.
and.
But he's not a board member, Dan, that's the
That's true.
difference.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's
I missed the obvious, right? Thank you, guys.
a sitting board member representing,
Right.
yeah, that's the problem.
Okay, I personally
So
don't
town
see-
planner, do we have any Graves reports on?
I do not have any Graves reports as far as everything.
Do we
but
know if the developer called up Graves to?
I can
Check out.
inquire about that for the next meeting and have an update for you guys.
Or you could contact the developer's engineer and ask.
Yeah,
what he's
exactly,
done, too.
yeah. So I'll get on that one, okay?
It's killing me, because I'm like,
It's fine, yeah, it is what it is.
is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, I'm gonna rejoin. Okay. On to other business. Set the next meeting, potentially have planning board meetings every 3 weeks. So this is an idea I thought
I,
might not be bad.
I don't think it's a bad idea. The only issue is that every 3 weeks, it's not gonna work out for the way the room's scheduled, because right now we have the room every second and fourth Wednesday of the month, and other weeks, there
That's
are
a-
other people using it.
That's a good point. I totally,
So what I would suggest.
talk about things that go right over our heads, Dan.
What I would suggest is, I mean, for the amount of things that we have going on with the planning board right now, why don't we vote to go to one meeting per month like we were doing in the summer, continue that
Until needed.
until needed, and just have it at the fourth Wednesday of each month. So the fourth Wednesday of each month, because there may be a fifth Wednesday in some months, I don't know.
So, go ahead.
I will not be here for the fourth Wednesday of each month, just letting you know, because I have another commitment for another meeting.
And the fourth Wednesday of each month gets difficult around Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Okay, so do you wanna?
So that we usually cancel those meetings anyway.
You wanna do it on the second Wednesday of the month? Can you be here for the
I
second
can be
Wednesday?
here for the second Wednesday of the month.
Okay.
But we
Just
would,
had another town meeting there, another.
Then my next statement would be, if we meet every second Wednesday, so that would be the 9th, and if our town meeting is on the 14th? 21st? Because we'll be meeting then, right? So we'll be meeting on the 9th?
you don't have to have a meeting during the town meeting if there's no business for the planning board to take up.
But we always meet there anyway.
If there's business for the planning board to take up.
All right.
We wouldn't be voting.
Yeah, there are no planning board articles,
There's
right?
no planning board articles, there's nothing to vote on.
Okay, good. Then I have no more objections or anything else to say. Good.
Okay, so somebody want to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we continue planning board meetings, one per month, as we had in the summertime schedule, until it's necessary to go to more than one meeting per month, go back to the 2 meetings per month, and we would basically hold our meetings on the second Wednesday of each month.
Okay, we have a motion.
I can second that. This would be starting on October 9th, correct? Yep,
Yep.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. All right, let's see. Oh, do we want to go back to revisiting, now that she knows what the meetings are going to be, figuring out exactly when we would want to invite the Eisenhower Drive people back in?
So that would be the 13th of November.
So I will write the letters for the 13th of November, but they will go out next week.
Okay.
And then, okay.
All right. Approval of consultant vouchers / payment of bills. Do we have anything? Okay. Number 3, other town notices? Nothing?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Number 4, other correspondence. Anything?
That's it.
Okay, great. All right, so I will,
Chairman, a motion to adjourn?
okay, we have a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second, all those in favor? Aye.
Unanimous?
Unanimous.